Mars cup holder or that dusty old jar on your dresser? Well, you might want to grab it right now because there's a 2003 Maine quarter out there that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard me right. $1.6 million. That's not a typo or a prank or some clickbait nonsense. That's the actual market value this coin has fetched in the world of serious collectors. Today, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know about this little silver treasure, how to spot it, why it's worth so much, and how you can check if you've got a retirement fund hiding in your pocket. So grab a coffee, get comfy, and let's dive into the fascinating world of rare Maine quarters that could change your life. Let's start with a little background so you don't feel like you're stepping into the middle of a Netflix documentary halfway through. Back in 2003, the U.S. Mint released the Maine State Quarter as part of the 50 State Quarters program. Millions and millions were minted, but only a tiny fraction ended up with the unique qualities that make them worth big bucks. First off, this isn't just any old Maine quarter. We're talking about the 2003 P Mint Mark version. That P stands for Philadelphia, the mint where it was struck. Now, not every 2003 P quarter is going to make you a millionaire, so don't start running to the gas station trying to trade in your soda change just yet. Some of these coins came off the presses with minting mistakes, things like double dies, off-center strikes, or planchet errors. These mistakes happen when the die shifts or the coin blank isn't seated correctly, and it can create some wild-looking results. For collectors, these little imperfections are like hidden Easter eggs that make the coin rare. A coin's grade can make or break its value. The $1.6 million Maine quarter was in virtually flawless condition, known as Mint State 69. That's like finding a classic car in a barn with zero rust and only 3 miles on the odometer. Some rare coins have a trackable history that adds to their mystique and desirability. If a famous collector once owned it or it was part of a significant collection, the value can climb astronomically. Alright, here's where you want to pay attention. You're going to need a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Unless you've got superhero eyesight, find the tiny P on the front side, right near Washington's ponytail. Look at the details on the coin. Is the ship doubled? Is there an extra outline around the lighthouse? Is anything off-center or strangely stamped? If your quarter looks like it just left the mint and never touched a vending machine, you're in luck. That time I almost spent a fortune on a vending machine soda. Let me tell you about the time I almost became the biggest chump in the coin collecting world. A few years back, I was rummaging through a jar of change. You know the one, it sits in the corner of your kitchen catching lint, loose pennies, and the occasional mystery screw you're too scared to throw away. I was thirsty, so I grabbed a handful of quarters to buy a soda. As I was about to drop them in the machine, I noticed one coin looked a little different. The details were so crisp it looked like it was printed yesterday. I shrugged and thought, shiny. Then I thought, maybe I'll set this one aside just in case. Turns out, it was a rare Wisconsin quarter with an extra leaf error. Not quite 1.6 million, but worth enough to pay my car insurance for a few months. If I dropped it in that machine, I'd have been sipping my overpriced soda, blissfully unaware I just traded a small fortune for 12 ounces of sugar water. Always check your change before you spend it. This is the part that baffles most people. Why would anyone pay $1.6 million for a quarter? Rarity plus demand equals value. When you have a coin with only a few known examples in such pristine condition and passionate collectors competing to own them, the price can skyrocket. Think of it like art collecting. A painting isn't worth millions because the paint is expensive. It's the rarity, the story, and the desire to own a unique piece of history. Check every quarter you come across, make it a habit. Treat it like a treasure hunt. Ask your bank for rolls of quarters and search them systematically. You'd be surprised how many rare coins slip through the cracks when people clean out grandma's attic. Invest in a coin book or a reputable online resource so you can spot errors quickly. Seriously, don't rely on your phone camera. A real magnifier makes all the difference. Beyond the money, there's something genuinely exciting about hunting for rare coins. Every time you pick up a quarter, you get a little rush of what if. It's like playing the lottery without spending any extra cash, and if you have kids or grandkids, teaching them to search coins can be a fun way to bond, and maybe even set them up for their first big find. Alright folks, if you've made it this far, you're now officially an expert on the 2003 P Maine quarter dollar and why this little piece of metal could be worth $1.6 million. Before you dash off to start digging through your couch cushions, let me leave you with this: the next time someone hands you a quarter in change, don't just shove it in your pocket. Take a closer look. That simple habit could transform your spare change into life-changing money. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins worth serious cash, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I post fresh strategies, real collector stories, and market updates so you'll always be one step ahead in the hunt for hidden fortune. And hey, if you ever do find that $1 million quarter, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear your story, and maybe you can buy me that soda I almost spent my rare coin on. Where your loose change might just be the ticket to a brand new boat, a dream vacation, or heck, early retirement. I mean, really looked at it? Because today, we're talking about one little coin that's hiding in plain sight, the 1989p Washington quarter. This unassuming 25-cent piece could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million if you find the right one in your collection. Yep, you heard that right. 1.7 million bucks. That's not Monopoly money. That's real money that could change your life faster than you can say heads or tails. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a donut or two, and get comfy, because we're about to dive deep into why this coin is so valuable, what to look for, and how you can turn a simple piece of pocket change into the biggest payday of your life. Alright, let's start with a little backstory about this famous quarter. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint pumped out hundreds of millions of Washington quarters. To the naked eye, they look like any other quarter. George Washington on the front, eagle on the back. But a tiny fraction of them, and I mean tiny, came out with some pretty fascinating errors and qualities that collectors absolutely drool over. Why this quarter can be worth so much. So you're probably wondering, what makes this little coin command a price tag of $1.7 million? This is the biggie. Some 1989p quarters were struck on planchets, that's the blank metal discs, intended for other coins. That means you could have a quarter made of the wrong metal, or slightly thicker, or thinner than it's supposed to be. These error coins are the holy grail for collectors. Another reason is a phenomenon called double die obverse. This is where the die that stamps the coin shifted slightly during production, creating a doubling effect on the lettering or date. If you spot a 1989p with doubled features, you're staring at something incredibly rare. The last factor is condition. If you have a quarter that has never been circulated, doesn't have fingerprints or scratches, and still has that shiny mint luster, you've got a serious contender. High-grade specimens, especially in MS67 or higher, can fetch astronomical sums. The front of the coin. Look closely at the date and the word Liberty. If you see any signs of doubling, take a picture and get it verified by a professional grading service. Second, weigh the coin. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If it's way off, you might have a planchet error. Finally, check the edges. Some error quarters have reeded edges that are inconsistent or partially smooth. Let me tell you about the time I nearly had a heart attack over a quarter. About 6 years ago, I was going through an old jar of change that had been sitting in my dad's garage since the 80s. You know the jar I'm talking about, the big glass one everyone seems to have, full of coins that smell like old pennies and WD-40. I found this 1989p quarter that looked a little off. The edges weren't quite right, and it felt heavier in my hand. I was already picturing the headlines: local man discovers $1 million quarter, buys a yacht, becomes Instagram celebrity. Long story short, it turned out to be nothing special, just an old, slightly corroded coin. But for a solid 2 days, I was convinced I'd hit the jackpot. And you know what? I don't regret getting excited. Because this hobby is all about the thrill of the hunt. Do not clean it. I can't say this enough. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value faster than you can say Brillo pad. Use gloves. The oils on your skin can leave marks. Get it graded. Send it to PCGS or NGC, professional grading companies that can authenticate your coin and assign a grade. Check auction results. Look up past sales of 1989p quarters with similar features to see what the market is paying right now. The record for a verified 1989p Washington quarter in pristine condition with significant errors sits at $1.7 million. That's the highest known sale price. Lower grade examples or those with minor errors can still fetch thousands, so don't think you're out of luck if yours isn't perfect. Old coin jars and piggy banks. Coin rolls from the bank. Yes, some people get lucky there. Inherited collections, flea markets, and garage sales. Remember, most folks have no idea their pocket change could be worth a fortune. Collectors love this quarter because it's from the tail end of the 80s, and it represents a perfect storm, a transitional period in minting, rare errors, and the nostalgia factor. You put all that together, And you've got a coin that can command big money. If you suspect you found a valuable coin, store it in a mylar flip or an acid-free holder. Keep it in a cool, dry place. And again, no cleaning. Just let it be its beautiful, flawed self. I always say, searching for rare coins is like dating, you have to sift through a lot of duds to find the one. But when you do, oh man, it's worth the effort. The 1989 Washington quarter is proof that not all treasure is buried underground or locked in a vault. Sometimes, it's jingling around in your glove compartment, hanging out with some spare nickels and a gum wrapper. Look for doubling, odd weights, or unusual edges. Get those promising finds appraised. Treat every quarter like it might be your ticket to millionaire status. I hope this video has inspired you to take a closer look at the humble coins we so often ignore. Because you never know, your next Starbucks run could end with you holding a $1.70 million piece of American history. Hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. We've got tons more tips on coins worth big money and strategies to build real wealth from the collectibles hiding in your own home. Drop a comment below if you've ever found something valuable in your change jar, or if you're about to go raid grandma's coin purse. Have you ever had a quarter in your pocket that was literally worth more than a Lamborghini? I mean, imagine walking into a gas station, digging in your pocket for some gum money, and accidentally handing over a coin worth $1.8 million. Boom. Gone. Vanished. That's not just painful, that's the kind of thing that makes grown men cry in the car with the radio off. Well, sit tight because today we're talking about one of the most mind-blowing coins out there, the 2019 War in the Pacific Quarter Dollar. Yep, the one from the US Mints America the Beautiful series. Looks ordinary, right? But let me tell you, this little slice of metal could literally change your life, and by the end of this video, you'll not only know how to spot one, but why it's worth up to $1.8 million. And what mistakes to avoid if you ever find one. Plus, I'm gonna tell you a little story about how I once almost spent a rare quarter at a laundromat. Let's just say, it involves a cranky dryer, some bad laundry detergent, and a life lesson I'll never forget. So grab a cup of coffee, maybe check your pockets while you're at it, and let's dig into the wild world of the 2019 War in the Pacific Quarter. Let's roll. Alright, first things first, let's talk about this beauty. The 2019 War in the Pacific Quarter was released as part of the US Mints America the Beautiful Quarters program, which ran from 2010 to 2021. Each year, the Mint released 5 different designs honoring national parks or historic sites. And in 2019, one of those was Guam's War in the Pacific National Historical Park. Now the P Mint mark on this coin tells us it was minted in Philadelphia. Sounds normal so far, right? But here's the twist. While millions of these quarters were produced, a very tiny batch came out with bizarre errors or ultra-rare strike features that made them insanely valuable. So while most are worth 25 cents or maybe a buck to collectors, a few select 2019 quarters, due to rarity, condition, or error, have been auctioned off or valued at up to $1.8 million. Yes, million. With an M. It's like finding out your childhood pet hamster had a Swiss bank account. Now let's answer the big, shiny, elephant-sized question. Simple. It all boils down to rarity, condition, and errors. Specifically, what coin collectors call, and coins in perfect, uncirculated mint state condition. A double die error means the coin was struck twice, and not in the cool superhero way. The image, letters, or numbers appear doubled, and collectors drool over that. An off-center strike means the coin wasn't lined up properly in the minting press. Instead of looking nice and round, it has that oops look, like the machine had one too many espressos that day. Now pair that with a coin that's never been touched by human hands, what collectors call MS67 or higher, and you've got the kind of thing auction houses fight over. One of these babies sold for over $1.8 million because it checked every box. Rare, pristine, with a dramatic minting error. Basically, the holy grail of quarters. It has to have that little P under, "In God We Trust," on the obverse, front, side. Check that the design is crisp. Washington's hair, the intricate battle scene, no signs of wear. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubled text, especially on United States of America, Liberty, or E Pluribus Unum. Any coins with off-center printing, ghosting, or blurred edges are worth closer inspection. The coin should shine like it just got waxed. No discoloration, no nicks, no fingerprints. If your coin has all of the above, buddy, you might be holding something worth 6 or 7 figures. A couple years ago, I was doing laundry at this rundown place, you know the kind. Half the machines were broken, the detergent vending machine was older than my grandma, and it smelled vaguely like regret anyway. I was short on quarters, so I dumped my change jar into a Ziploc and headed out. Halfway through loading the dryer, I noticed this quarter. It was shinier than the rest. I almost tossed it in, but something stopped me. Maybe it was divine intervention or just plain dumb luck. I gave it a second look. The design looked different. Turns out it was a low mintage America the Beautiful coin, though not the $1 million one. Still, I kept it. A year later, I sold it for over $600. That's right. $600 from what could have gone into a broken dryer that eats socks. Never underestimate your spare change. And always listen to your gut, and maybe your coin guy on YouTube. Well, don't go running to your local pawn shop, they'll give you 50 cents and a cold stare. Send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. This validates the condition officially. If it's legit, reach out to top auction houses like Heritage Auctions. They specialize in rare coins. Whatever you do, don't clean the coin. Seriously. One guy tried polishing his rare penny and dropped the value from $12,000 to $5. Rookie move. Get into communities like CoinTalk or Reddit's or /coins. People there can help guide your next move. You want to protect your find like it's the last slice of pizza at a family reunion. Handle it with care, get the right eyes on it, and you might just cash out. If you made it this far, I've got some good news for you. You're already ahead of 99% of folks who toss their quarters into parking meters without a second thought. The 2019 P war in the Pacific Quarter isn't just another piece of spare change, it's a potential millionaire maker. But you gotta know what to look for. Keep your eyes peeled for that P mint mark, flawless detail, error strikes, and sharp finishes. And maybe, just maybe, your pocket change could turn into a down payment on a mansion, or at least a pretty awesome fishing boat. If nothing else, it gives you a great excuse to go coin diving in your couch cushions, your glove box, or that old jar on the fridge. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this: every coin has a story. Some are worth 25 cents, and some are worth millions. But none of them will do you any good unless you take the time to look. Smash that subscribe button like you're striking a coin at the mint. Hit the like. No, seriously, today we're diving into a 1986 Washington quarter with a little P mint mark that could be worth up to $1.1 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A quarter that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a couple of Teslas, and still leave you enough for a lifetime supply of tacos. So grab that old jar of coins you've been ignoring, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this coin is so valuable, and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. Alright, let's get into it before someone else finds that $1 million quarter under their couch cushions. Let's start with the basics. Why would anyone pay $1.1 million for something that's worth 25 cents at the store? Well, my friend, it all comes down to rarity, demand, and a dash of pure luck. In the world of coin collecting, it's like dating. People want the rare, the perfect, the ones with a little story behind them. For the 1986 P quarter, it's not just about the year, it's about the condition, the mint errors, and the fact that most folks didn't bother to save them in pristine shape. So a few of these coins survived in nearly perfect condition, and collectors are willing to pay big bucks for them. Now, before you start thinking, great, let me cash in my piggy bank, hold your horses. Not every 1986 quarter is valuable. But if you know exactly what to look for, you might just hit the jackpot. The 1986 P mint mark means it was made at the Philadelphia Mint. Millions were struck, so why is this one so special? Like double strikes, off-center strikes, or missing details. Think of it as the coin equivalent of a misprinted baseball card. Coins are graded on a scale of 1 to 70. The closer to 70, the better. If your 1986 P quarter is graded MS67 or higher, you're in the big leagues. Sharp features, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers on the reverse side. Collectors drool over coins that look untouched, as if George Washington just winked at you from the die press. Alright, time to get practical. Go grab that quarter. Yes, I'll wait. Look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. You should see a tiny letter P. Condition: is it shiny with no scratches? If it looks like it's been through a blender, it's probably not worth millions. Under a magnifying glass, check the hair, the face, and the eagle's feathers. You want crisp, clean lines. If you're not sure, consider sending it to a professional coin grading service. They'll give you an official score, and that's what serious buyers look for. Let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a valuable coin about 5 years ago. I was helping my uncle clean out his garage. We were tossing old jars of coins into donation boxes. I'm talking jars that hadn't been touched since the 70s. I picked up this one grimy quarter and was about to chuck it into the bin when I noticed something weird. It looked like the image on the back was stamped twice. So I shoved it into my pocket, thinking, maybe I'll look it up later. A long story short, I did look it up, and that weird coin was an error coin from the 80s. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it did sell for $900 on eBay. I treated myself to a nice steak dinner and a new pair of shoes, all because I didn't ignore that little detail that taught me a valuable lesson: never underestimate your change. Because you just never know. Collectors love coins from the 80s. If you grew up with them, they feel familiar. Low survival rate in top condition. Most coins got scratched up in circulation. Errors and varieties. Some 1986 quarters have crazy errors, double die obverse, weak strike reverse, and more. Like fine art, rare coins can grow in value over time. The record sale for a pristine, error-free MS67 plus 1986 P quarter was $1.1 million at auction. Because collectors were fighting over it like kids over Halloween candy. More realistically, if you have a nice example but not perfect, it could still bring in hundreds or thousands. Even lower grade error coins sometimes fetch a few $100s. So don't get discouraged if yours isn't flawless. Anything unusual is worth getting checked out. Always start with a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. Heritage Auctions and Stacksbauers specialize in rare coins. Good things come to those who wait. Don't sell it for pennies just because you're excited. Always check your change. Keep coins stored safely in protective holders. Learn about mint marks, errors, and grading. Don't clean coins ever. It kills the value. Join coin forums and connect with other collectors. Have fun. It's like a treasure hunt you can do without leaving your house. The first Washington quarter was minted in 1932. The P mint mark wasn't used on quarters until 1980. Some quarters have hidden errors worth thousands. The average lifespan of a quarter is 30 years. So next time someone says, it's just a quarter, you can smile and think, yeah, but maybe it's a $1.1 million quarter. You might feel like you'll never find one of these coins, but remember, somebody has to. Why not you? Check your change, check your old jars, and maybe call up that relative who hoards coins in mason jars. Because you never know when your lucky day will come. But if you've enjoyed this deep dive into the 1986 P Washington quarter, and you love the idea of making money off the stuff rattling around in your pockets, hit that subscribe button right now. I've got tons more videos coming your way: guides on rare coins, tips for selling, and strategies to build a collection that might just fund your retirement. So subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with someone you know who has a big jar of quarters sitting around. You might just make their day and yours. Thanks for hanging out with me. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your pockets jangling. You never know which coin could change your life. Hey there, coin hunters, treasure seekers, and folks who think that the spare change in their junk drawer is nothing but clutter. Hold on to your seat cushions, because today, we're talking about a tiny piece of metal that might just be worth more than your house. Yup, you heard me right. This isn't a fairy tale. We're going to uncover the story of a regular old 1994 P Washington quarter that has fetched a jaw-dropping $1.2 million on the collector's market. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're picturing that jar of quarters you've been ignoring for years, and you're wondering if there's a little millionaire hiding in there. Well, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this particular coin is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you can check if you're sitting on a fortune yourself. So grab your magnifying glass, your beverage of choice, and maybe a pillow in case you faint when you realize what your pocket change could be worth. Let's dive in. Let's kick things off by getting familiar with the 1994 P Washington quarter itself. This is the same quarter design that's been rattling around in America's pockets since 1932, featuring our buddy George Washington on the front. The P mint mark stands for Philadelphia, where it was struck. In 1994, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins. That's right. The vast majority are worth, you guessed it, 25 cents. But a tiny fraction of them have unique qualities that make collectors absolutely lose their minds and open their wallets wide enough to stuff in over $1 million. Before we get into what makes this coin worth more than some beachfront condos, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was helping my Uncle Rick clean out his garage. We found this old Folgers coffee can stuffed with quarters. He laughed and said, Bet these are worth more than my retirement account." We both had a good chuckle. But out of curiosity, I picked up a magnifier and started looking closer. That was the day I learned that one date, one mint mark, or one little error can make a world of difference. Sadly, Uncle Rick's quarters weren't $1,000,000 gems. But it sparked this curiosity in me because coins can be treasures hiding in plain sight. This might sound obvious, but condition is everything. The $1,000,000 example is in what collectors call mint state, meaning it looks practically untouched. No scratches, no sticky residue from that one time you taped it to a birthday card. Degrading services like PCGS and NGC rate coins on a 70-point scale. The closer your coin is to 70, the better. The $1.2 million beauty was graded near perfection, making it a unicorn among quarters. Even though millions were made, only a few thousand survived in pristine mint state. Most were spent, tossed in vending machines, or dropped behind car seats. Over the years, those perfect specimens became fewer and fewer. This particular coin had a double die obverse error. That's a fancy way of saying the design was stamped twice, slightly out of alignment. You can see a faint doubling of letters and numbers on the front of the coin, especially in the word Liberty and the date 1994. Collectors go wild over these errors. They're like nature's little quirks, turning something ordinary into something extraordinary. Provenance is just a fancy word for the coin's backstory: who owned it, how it was discovered, and how it changed hands. This coin had a documented history from the day it was minted to the day it sold for $1.2 million. That kind of traceability adds big value in the collecting world. The clear P mint mark above the date on the obverse front, no visible wear under magnification, sharp, clean details, especially on Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers doubling in the word Liberty or in the date numbers. Pro tip: get yourself a good 10x magnifier and a soft cotton glove. Oils from your fingers can damage the coin's surface, and if you're holding a $1,000,000 quarter, you don't want to be the person who left a thumbprint worth $200,000. While most circulated 1994 P quarters are worth face value, high-grade examples with a rare double die error can sell for anywhere from a few $100s to several thousand. The unique specimen we've been discussing reached $1.2 million at auction because of its exceptional condition, rarity, and error. And now, I don't want to get your hopes up that every 1994 P quarter will fund your early retirement. But here's the thing, you never know until you look. Collectors, investors, and museums are always on the hunt. That's why checking your coins is worth your time. And if you think you've struck gold, or in this case, silver-colored clad, here are a few steps. Don't clean it. Cleaning a coin can destroy its value. Put it in a protective holder or soft cloth pouch, or find a reputable coin dealer or professional grading service. Get a second opinion if the first appraisal seems fishy. Research recent sales online to get a ballpark estimate. Let me tell you, I used to think collecting coins was only for old guys in cardigan sweaters who smelled like mothballs. Then I started seeing these crazy auction prices. One day, I was out grocery shopping, and the cashier handed me my change. I swear to you, I stood there squinting at each coin so long the lady behind me thought I was losing it. She said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Ma'am, if this is a double die quarter, I'm about to retire." I didn't find the $1,000,000 one that day, but I did find a 1999 Connecticut quarter worth $20. Not bad for checking my change while buying bread. A focus on coins from the 1990s in uncirculated rolls. Many are still out there in storage. Pay attention to quarters minted in Philadelphia. The P mint mark quarters often have fascinating errors. Join online coin forums where collectors share photos and discoveries. Visit local coin shows and ask dealers about 1994 P examples. Alright, folks, we've covered a lot today. From the history of the 1994 P Washington quarter, to how a single error can turn a humble coin into a $1,000,000 masterpiece, to why you should never underestimate your spare change. If you're inspired to dig through your couch cushions or raid your piggy bank, I say go for it. You might just uncover the next record-breaking coin, and hey, even if you don't, you'll have a great story to tell and probably cleaner pockets than you started with, because every week, we're dropping more tips on coins worth big money, strategies for building wealth with collectibles, and stories that will keep you entertained and maybe even make you rich. Tap the bell so you never miss an episode. Share this video with that friend who always complains they're broke. Who knows, maybe they've been sitting on a $1,000,000 quarter this whole time. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the biggest fortunes come in the smallest packages. Hey there, my fellow treasure hunters. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever held a quarter in your hand and thought, 25 cents, maybe it'll get me a gumball if I'm lucky? Well, grab a chair, because today, I'm about to blow your mind. There's a little coin out there that looks just like any other quarter. Same old George Washington giving you that stoic stare. Same ridged edge. Same shiny face. But this quarter, the 1996 P. Washington quarter, is packing some serious hidden value. And when I say serious, I'm talking about a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yep. $1.3 million for a coin you might have accidentally left in a parking meter or dropped between your couch cushions along with those stale Cheetos. Stick around, because in this video, we're going to dive deep into why this coin is so special, how to tell if you've got one, and how you can turn that little circle of metal into the biggest payday of your life. Plus, I'll share a personal story about the time I nearly spent a rare coin on a gas station hot dog. You do not want to miss that one. Alright, let's get rolling. First things first. Let's talk about why this humble 1996 P. Washington quarter is worth enough to buy you a mansion, a sports car, and a lifetime supply of beef jerky. You see, not all coins are created equal. Some coins come off the minting presses looking just a little different. Maybe the die cracked. Maybe the planchet was struck twice. Or maybe the stars aligned and that coin came out with a unique feature collectors drool over. In the case of this 1996 P quarter, there are a few reasons for the big price tag. Point 1, it's in pristine, uncirculated condition. We're talking about the kind of shine that would make a magpie jealous. Point 2, it has an extremely rare error called a double die obverse. That's fancy collector speak for when the image on the front of the coin is slightly doubled, making Washington's profile look like he's had one too many cups of coffee. And 3, it has been professionally graded by an independent agency like PCGS, and given an ultra-high mint state grade. That grading is basically like the coin's resume. The better it looks, the bigger the payday. You've probably noticed the P mint mark. Let's clear that up. P stands for the Philadelphia Mint. That's where this beauty was made. If you flip over the quarter, you'll see the little P right under the date, 1996. Now, don't go grabbing every 1996 P quarter out of your change jar just yet. Millions were made, but only a tiny handful have this rare double die error and the condition to match. That's why collectors will fork over more than $1 million to get their hands on it. Alright, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was at a gas station on a long road trip. I was tired, hungry, and craving one of those mystery meat hot dogs that rotate on the little rollers for what feels like weeks. I dug into my pocket, pulled out some quarters, and slapped them on the counter. The guy behind the counter picked up the change, paused, and said, "Hey, this quarter looks weird." I shrugged and said, "Weird quarter or not, it's paying for my hot dog." Well, turns out, when I got home, I looked up that quarter. It was a 1996 P with a faint double die. I nearly spent what could have been a six-figure coin on gas station food that probably shaved a few years off my life expectancy. Lesson learned, folks. Always check your change before you spend it on questionable meat products. Alright, let's talk practical. Here's how to check your 1996 P quarters. First, look at the date under magnification. If you see a slight doubling in the numbers or the letters "In God We Trust," that's a good sign. Second, check the overall condition. Scratches, dings, and sticky soda residue? Probably not worth much. But if it's in nearly perfect condition, you might be in luck. Third, consider having it graded by a professional coin grading service. They'll slap it in a tamper-proof case and give you an official grade that collectors trust. Well, rare coin collectors are a unique bunch. For them, finding the best example of a rare error is like discovering buried treasure. Auctions have driven prices up as wealthy collectors compete to own the finest known specimens. Think of it like baseball cards or classic cars. It's all about rarity, demand, and bragging rights, and right now, that 1996 P double die in top condition is considered one of the rarest modern quarters, hence the staggering valuation. Point 1, go through every bit of loose change you can get your hands on. Your couch, your car's cup holders, that old jar your grandma kept on top of the fridge. Point 2, hit up flea markets and garage sales. You'd be surprised how often rare coins slip through the cracks. Point 3, build a relationship with local coin dealers. They often have boxes of unsorted coins you can comb through. Point 4, invest in a good magnifying glass and start learning what error coins look like. Education is your best investment. Or that the ridged edge was originally added so nobody could shave off little bits of silver. The 1996 version doesn't have any silver, but it sure has a gold level price tag if you find the right one. So let's say you find a potentially valuable quarter. First thing, don't clean it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but cleaning a coin can destroy its value faster than you can say polishing cloth. Store it in a protective holder, away from moisture, heat, and curious toddlers who might decide it's a toy. Then get it authenticated and graded. Close your eyes and picture it. A new house. Zero debt. Maybe a boat named the Lucky Quarter. Or just the ability to tell people you paid off your mortgage with a coin you almost spent on gas station junk food. Even if you don't find this specific quarter, there are dozens of coins out there worth serious money. The key is to stay curious, keep learning, and never underestimate the humble change rattling in your pocket. I always say, finding valuable coins is part luck and part knowledge. The more you learn, the luckier you get. Alright, my fellow treasure seekers, if you made it this far, you're officially in the top 1% of people who know just how life-changing an ordinary-looking coin can be. Before you dash off to check your coin jars, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips, stories,